What's up everybody, this is Saber and welcome to StarMade Ship Reviews. Now in case you aren't familiar, this is the series where I grab ships from the StarMade website, or I get them sent to me quite often from different people, and I do a quick review of them. Now I've never seen any of these ships before. I don't look at pictures, I don't look at videos, I rarely even read descriptions. So everything that you see from me is going to be a first reaction, and I do a aesthetic review, a mobility test, and then a weapons test. So that is kind of the basis of the 3 stages of the review. Now what you're looking at right here is the targets for those tests. The bottom row are penetration targets, which will test how much penetration power the weapons have. And then the top are 3 shields with 10,000 shields each, which kind of finds a nice balance between large ships and smaller ships depending on their armament. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the first ship of the day, and so we will go ahead and check that one out. Alright, and the first ship of today is going to be the Class 1 Ghost Fighter. Okay, there we go. Still in a menu, but I have the HUD hidden. And this is created by Ace Face. Now already I'm seeing some beam weapons in the side here, and some missiles, so this is definitely looking like it's going to have a decent armament for being a fighter. Keeping to a pretty small scale with it, which I am okay with as far as from a review standpoint. He does have some nice lines going with it though, because, like, for example, these vertical stabilizers back here, which technically do not hit in space, but they still look cool because they're wingy bits. And somebody commented on me saying that last time. I've been saying that for a while, so no worries with me saying that. I do definitely like its shape, because it is a small fighter, but it is obviously it's going to serve its purpose by the looks of it. But he keeps good aesthetics in the small space that he uses. And so yeah, I do definitely like it. Let's check out the bottom quick because I haven't quite seen that yet. Keeps a nice shape, has a pretty nice silhouette as well. Ooh, and a spot for a turret with no turret currently attached, but you could probably attach your own. So I'm wondering if this is supposed to be sort of a starter fighter. Maybe not a, right off the bat, pop this thing in when you first join the game, but something to work to pretty quickly, which then gives you, let's see, cannons as well. So cannons on one side and, or wait, no, never mind. Those are still the same system. For a second I thought it was asymmetric with the systems. So let's go ahead and just jump right on inside and see what this baby's got for an interior. So made some nice use of the, oh wow, okay. So there is no interior, or at least not on this side. So just some wedges here. Now the only problem with this is if you're going to try and access this, you can't really do it because the door's here. So like right now I'm stuck in the door. So that's kind of a problem from that side. Maybe you can access it from this side? No. Okay, so that is a problem because you can't access these things unless... Yeah, because see, like right now I'm stuck in the door here. I'll show you. Oh wait, no, hang on. Oh, okay, hang on. So maybe I wasn't. So if you are inside of here... Okay, so if you're close enough to the block, then it works, but if you're a little bit too far away, you're just shutting yourself in. So you just have to be right up against it. Let me make sure that it works on this side too. Okay, so it does still work. Alright. So with how, I think, maybe this is just with how wedges are now, because it seems like how it used to work would be if you were inside of a door at all and you could, like, well, if you were looking at the interior of that block, then it would close the door on you, but I guess with either the wedges or if you're just close enough, that it's not an issue. So where is the core then for this thing? Is that on the underside? Okay, so it's right here in the very, very back. In the door. Oh, okay, there is a door back here. Alright, so this is definitely a minimalist fighter as far as interior goes, but that means that he was probably trying to maximize space. Got an ion computer in there as well. Let's see, there are the stats, which you guys will have seen already. I just do this for my own benefit. And yeah, I imagine this thing's going to be pretty nimble then, so let's go ahead and give this thing its mobility test. Check out the cameras first. So you got 2 cameras right behind each other. Now, sometimes I wonder if this is just an accident if you place down multiple computers. Sometimes, though, it is a tactical thing, because if you get one camera shot out, you still have one behind it. So it works. I'm kind of 50-50 on that myself, but this thing is definitely quick. Just to kind of give you guys a frame of reference, this is a very, very nimble fighter, and it has a lot of weapons in here too. Let's see, you got a scanner computer. Sorry, not jump. scanner computer, a missile computer, damage beam, another missile, and another damage beam. So I think that should be all the systems, just to make sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this baby a try. First, the overdrive, which is operating at a 9% efficiency, which I can't recall how old this ship is, because there was a glitch. Well, yeah, it was a glitch. There was actually a problem with how overdrive was working. It was basically being way too efficient. So that has been changed now. So this isn't a super effective overdrive, but it still will get you going faster than the server speed limit. So you could outrun someone, but you would have to be just barely doing it, basically. So let's go ahead and give the cloaker a shot. I'm curious actually to see how long of a cloak this gives it. Not very long. Okay, that also is very, very limited. The jammer, though, should work just fine, I believe. Yep, that holds true. Yep, that holds steady just fine, which is good. So now, with that all done, this thing is really nimble. I really like this. Excellent job, Ace. Let's go ahead and give its weapons a test. So normally what I do for this is just give it a quick click at first, and then I'll do a sustained burst after that, just for each weapon system, and we'll see how that goes. I want to test on this one, so it's a little further away from my Steadicam, so I don't do it any damage. So here we go, first with the damage beam. Now I believe that's actually an ion, so that was just a quick click, and I know, for anybody who's wondering, I think it's actually the ion computer. Yeah, this one's probably an ion beam. And that was both of them? That doesn't make much sense. Okay, so I believe that was... Now these things have no shield, so I'll give that a test on the shield target itself. So we'll go ahead and give the missiles a test then. So there's 1. And 2. Let's see, not too bad. Let's see, 2 missiles on a fighter that size, got it to about 15, which is not too shabby. Considering this thing's size, this is a tiny fighter. Well, I shouldn't say tiny, it's a small fighter. Compared to other fighters that people have made, and we're not going to get into the whole debate of gigantism and all that stuff, but for a fighter as nimble and powerful as this is, it is fairly small, so very nice and contained. Excellent job so far. Let's go ahead and test out this ion beam on this thing. Okay, so it took it down about 15% shields, not too bad, but I think the missile should handle most of the rest of that. Or not. Okay, so not great against shields, but once you get its shields down, it should do a pretty good job. Alright, so this would take a little while to actually crack it down, but you guys can see that you could take down something with 10,000 shields relatively easy. You would have to be using your mobility, but that's not a problem in this ship. So, alright, definitely a nice ship. And, oh, that's weird. Okay, so yeah, definitely a nice ship. I do really like it. And definitely be on the lookout for more cool stuff from Ace Face, because I'm pretty sure he builds pretty often. But, you know, I've seen him around on the forums a lot. And I don't know if he does his own YouTube or not. But anyway, yeah, nice job, Ace. And looking forward to seeing more stuff from you in the future. Alright, and the next ship of the day is the Orion Co Carrion. And this is by MineLord0013. So got some exposed thrust back here, and also some, what was it, metal mesh with some red lights in the very back end, kind of continuing that up here on the side with some more exposed thrust. One thing you want to keep in mind with this is to make sure you have a lot of shields, because your systems take a lot more damage than hull does. So that would be a major weak point in the design of your ship. So got a turret up here as well. Also with exposed systems, again, be mindful of that, especially on a turret though. You're not going to have as much for shields as your ship will, so that would be torn through pretty quickly. I would like to see some of your details either recessed into your ship or extruded out of it, because that would give you cleaner lines, and you wouldn't necessarily have to have quite a blocky Minecraft look to it, which, I mean, you know, we have wedges, so, well, we have a lot of different blocks that Minecraft doesn't have, so it's really nice to take advantage of those. I do like your cannons. I do feel like it's a little boxy though, the cowling that you have around the cannons, but I do like the general layout. To be completely honest with you, I think you could kind of do away with the full cowling around it, and then you could kind of continue just more of a, almost like a Gatling design, where you could actually add in your other barrels that would be on the outside to mirror what you have on the inside of that main cannon. So that would be one way that you can, because they're kind of smushed right now. Just kind of, it's like you're trying to cram in as many as you can. But I think if you were to take out the side cannon over here, which to be honest isn't really doing you a whole lot as far as protecting things, because you've already got the hull on the outside, or sorry, the armor on the outside of those cannons that should be doing its job, along with the shields of your ship, obviously. Now this is a pretty nice bridge design by the look of it. Really, really open, which I'm kind of surprised about, to be honest. And what is this on the bottom? So got some more turrets, obviously. I'm wondering if these are escape pods or just maybe AMS turrets. Yeah, these like sort of more boxy ones. I'm thinking those are AMS turrets. And then I think this almost looks like it's a ship docked in here, which I think is probably because it is. Okay, so you got a little shuttle in here, or a fighter would be more accurate, I think. That's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Oh, as I bump into things. Whoa, more things. Okay, so I do have a bit of a tail on this camera because it's a steady cam. So that's not too bad. I do like what you've got in here, because it's using about as much space as you can. Ooh, see, that's good stuff to do with your wedges. Kind of recess things, give it a little more depth. Nice job with that. So with all that having been looked at, let's go ahead and head into the interior, probably through the shuttle bay. Okay, so here we go in the interior, and I do really like that you have sort of a compartmentalized shuttle or fighter bay in here. That is really nice. So let's go ahead and see. Oh, looks like it's gonna be an elevator. Whee! And now we're on the ceiling. Oh, good, good. You got triggers in there. Excellent. So that's nice. Everything's labeled, which is also very nice. Got some nice color variation here. I do like your interior. It is pretty good. Got everything kind of recessed. See, this is very nice. I would say that this is more of what I'm looking for as far as what the ship needed on the exterior, actually. In my opinion, I should say. Your stairways are a little short, but I think that's probably all right. It just looks more narrow as you're going down. But that's probably okay. You got a fairly consistent design here. And I also have no idea where I'm going. This, okay, goes to the outside, because I saw those doors on the way in. Let's see what goes to the very back here. So we have a core room. Cool, good to know. And crew quarters, med bay, and upper turret access. Ooh, spiral stairs. Sword. Oh yeah, they are spiral stairs. Whoa. I feel like I'm going up a water slide. So I'm not sure if you do want to round that kind of stuff out. I don't know. That's up to you, I guess. I haven't really seen anybody do stairs like that, so I'm not going to knock you for it. It's just kind of throws you around all over the place. Let's see what this button does. Nothing. All right then. Wait, no. Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, so this is the upper turret. Gotcha. Oh, so you do have... Okay, so there are area triggers there. Cool. Hang on. Okay, now how'd you get that to work? Oh, never mind. For a second I thought it was when I entered the trigger, it was opening it, and then when I was leaving it was closing it, but that's not working like that. So wait, I thought this was all supposed to go to the crew quarters. Is this like a fast way down? No, it's just a hole. Oh, no, that's only upper turret. Okay, I gotcha. So this is probably the med bay. Yep, that's the med bay. And crew quarters will be over here. Looks like, ooh, okay, nice. I do like that. Then you can see right into the fighter bay. Wow, that is a small barracks area. Okay, something I would like to see. And then they got one bathroom. Man, that's a lot of beds to have one bathroom for. I'd like to see you use a little more of the space that you got here, because you do have a lot of room. And you could easily turn this into more of an open barrack style, rather than having, you know, 2 closets of beds. So that would be one improvement I would suggest. But let's go ahead and head up towards the front of the ship and see what we got up there. So this goes to the... There's the bridge. Here we go. To the bridge. Alright. Very, very open bridge. Which works. I don't know. It kind of depends on the purpose of the ship, I guess. If you're looking more for roleplay value, I would say this is fine. If you're looking to maximize your weapon systems, I would say you could probably cut this down a little bit. And here we go. So this is the shields and power station. The other one is what? Probably also the shields and power station. Yes, okay. And then nothing down there. Alright, so that's a big gap to have. I'd like to see something done with that. I don't know what necessarily, but maybe just another tier down that you could have another shield and power station or something. I don't know. Something else you could do up here would be add like some computer panels, give it sort of like a Star Trek back wall computer array system, whatever you want to call it. So you could have your captain up here, just, you know, shouting out orders, and then you got engineering running back there, and wherever else, whatever other systems you need. But overall, not too bad. Very roomy, for sure. Maybe more so than it needs to be, but again, that's up to you with how you design the ship. If it is more for roleplay or for combat, whatever you want it to be for. So I'm guessing this probably just goes to... Never mind, this just goes back to the core. Alright, so let's go ahead and head to the core. Test out its mobility, test out its weapons, and then move on to the next ship. So first we gotta get back here. Right back here. Here we go. See, look, I don't even need my HUD for this. Come on, guys, I can do this. I got this. Okay, now I need my HUD, though, because I need to see the stats. Test out some cameras. Got them kind of all over. Oh, hello, camera. Oh, that's like right below the docking thing. Yep. Alright, then. Wait, that's a downwards facing, wasn't it? I think it's a downwards facing camera. It totally is. Very nice. Cool. Okay, here. Yeah, now see, that's not bad. You could smooth out some of it, I think, but otherwise not bad. As far as turn rate, not surprised that it's not fast because it's a long ship. But as far as its thrust, it seems fairly nimble. Let me just get turned around so I can actually see a point of reference here. Okay, here we go. Not too bad for a ship this size. Actually, yeah, it's pretty good. So you're good on the thrust. Excellent. Is there only 2 weapon systems in this? Yes, because there's a lot of turrets. Now, I know you guys always ask me to test out turrets, but the problem is I would have to go through and set up each and every single individual turret, because normally if I just try and do this whole number, let me do it here for you real quick. That's not it. So see, even if I did that, then it's still not going to be... I would have to go through each one individually. Well, not even through this, manually, like go to the turret and then set it to fire on selected, and that's just... To be honest, that's just too much work for me to have to worry about. So let's just trust that this thing has pretty decent turrets, since there are a lot of them. I mean, they were kind of small, some of them, but we'll just have to go with it. Anyway, so mobility, pretty good. The weapons, however, let's find out what those are like. So we'll do the middle one this time. So damage beam first, one quick test. What in the world? They're shotguns. Those were all shotguns. Okie dokie then. Holy cow, people don't usually use shotguns, which is why this surprises me, because it's just not usually an accurate enough option, so people don't typically tend to do it. Wow, okay. Especially on a ship this size, like, shotguns are almost never used. I mean, they seem decently powerful. Let me see what that thing's at. Oh, hang on, let's actually hit it with one, like, up close. Actually, let's use this one, because this one is still at 100. Okay, so they're kind of weak shotguns too. That's part of another reason why I don't use shotguns. They're usually fairly weak in comparison. So yeah, not doing a whole lot of damage there, just kind of scattering it all around. So yeah, you can see even in the penetration target, not a whole lot going on there. So let's try out the missile computer instead. Hopefully that will have a bit more of an impact. Let's give this thing a fire. Whoa! Okay then, so swarmers. Good to know. Holy crap, there goes my Steadicam. Alright. Well then, so everything's dead. Wonderful. Well, except for the shield targets. Okay, and now I tested again just to try out the shield targets. Hopefully I don't kill all of them. No, in fact, only took out about 30% of the shields, which isn't, no, 20% on this one. So not super great against shielded targets. Now, the good part about this though is that you will have your turrets wearing down on the shield. So hopefully the turrets are pretty good. Again, sorry, but I just don't have all the time to test all of them, because with some of the ships that I get, there's a lot of turrets. So that's just not gonna happen. Unless you guys want me to like send turrets that are already working or set to fire on selected or whatever, then great, but I don't know if there's a way you can do that. Anyway, I think that about wraps up this ship's review. I'm gonna need to save some of these before they die, which will take a while, so no problem. But yeah, again, this was the Orion Co Carrion by MineLord0013, and not too bad. Definitely some stuff you can improve on, but it's not too bad of a start, so definitely got something to work with here. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the next ship of the day. All right, and the last ship of the day is going to be the IST-Venus, and this was created by Alexandros T. Great. Now, this is appearing to be a very organic design, and what I mean by organic is very curvy. There's not a lot of flat spots on it, and pretty much the entire thing is basically just one curve. Now, I'm not sure if this was a Smedit originally. Given some of its random features, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but at the same time, it also seems like it could possibly be all done by hand, just kind of randomized. Now, I would like to recommend, given its shape, to go ahead and do pentas and tetras on it, because that would definitely help you out as far as continuing the smooth look of the entire thing, because it's fairly chunky at this point, basically, with all of its layers set up as they are. And I don't know, there's sort of a random noise to it, which that's part of what makes me wonder if it is indeed a Smedit, because most of these lines aren't smooth lines. They're really kind of choppy in different places, and so that's part of why I'm wondering if it is in fact a Smedit. But yeah, let's go ahead and check it out here. Looks like there's a lot of turrets. Got some lights in here, which is nice. Kind of breaks it up a little bit, and then also your little antenna are pretty good. Ooh, I do see little stuff like this is a nice thing to be able to do with thrusters, or there are a bunch of different modules that have different textures on each of its faces, which is really nice to do. So using thrusters in that kind of a sense is usually very nice to sort of add sort of a difference of your details. So you can use one block in multiple ways, which is very beneficial for especially micro detailing, but pretty much anywhere on your ship. And even using your lights here as kind of like little hoses to computers and stuff, those work pretty well as well. So let's go ahead, and you do have a lot of exposed systems on the ship. Not necessarily large chunks of systems, but in quite a few places where you've got, like here, for example. So I'm almost wondering if this is supposed to look like it's cut out of an asteroid or something. You do have a lot of like random terrain blocks and stuff, which once your shields are gone, again, with some of the other ships today, those are going to take a lot more damage than the rest of your hull blocks. And this looks like it's just standard hull as well, rather than being an actual armor. You have armored wedges, but not armor itself on the entire ship. So something to be wary of, because that's going to, give you quite a few weak points on the ship. But that depends, entirely on what you're actually going for. Now, I think these are actually turrets. Maybe they look like it. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, they probably are, because yeah, there's a nice gap in here. So yeah, these are probably also all turrets, which is nice because they all kind of blend into the ship. But let's see if I can go ahead and find the door in and go ahead and take a look around this thing. All right, so I found the door without too much trouble. Just up here towards the front of the ship on the top side, and right down here through this door is, why can I not? Hang on, something weird. Oh, there's a door up. Okay, I gotcha. All right, so that was some sort of weird bug. Okay, no, that's not good. No, release me. There we go. Okay, so yeah, that was an interesting sort of adventure. Okay, so here we go into what appears to be a giant bridge type thing. Lots of random stuff floating around, which I can't say I'm super fond of. Okay, so it's a map, because this is a planet with rings, and there's other stuff in here. So I get what you're going for. It's supposed to be like a big hologram room, but I don't know, dude. Like it's just a lot of random stuff and not a whole lot of AKS homeworld. Yeah, there isn't a whole lot of direction, I guess, in this room. Like there's nothing to indicate. Is there like a control panel in here somewhere? Is this all just one big hologram room? Is it supposed to be like a map? Like, it's just not very clear what the purpose of the room is, and I was only able to discern that it was in fact a map based on, you know, this planet with rings, and then this sign that says it's actually homeworld. So let's go ahead and head downstairs, I think is where that was, and see what's on down here. Alright, now this is a lot more clear because it's some sort of a crew quarters cafeteria type thing. But you got a bed in here, so is it... Oh, it's a lounge. There we go. I would prefer to see that on a wall or something. But, yeah, I mean, you know, it is nice that you labeled it, that's for sure. Operating at 300. Oh, so everybody has assigned beds, alright. Interesting. So yeah, it seems like everybody kind of stays in one place. I gotta be honest with you, man, you have a lot of kind of random details that I'm not super fond of. Like this random light pole, like it doesn't seem to have a purpose. Unless it's just like a TV, but then you don't really need the light pole too. You could just have the wedges go in the opposite direction, so it looks like it's holding it from the ceiling. But there's not a lot of flow to the design, for the interior at least. It's just kind of everything's kind of just chunked in random seeming places. Like each of these, yeah, each of these is just kind of thrown about in a random type manner. Your display modules, some of them at least, like this one and the one on the wall, and I don't know, man. I'm not super fond of what you got going on in here. Okay, so that's gonna be like some sort of combat system, like again, another one of these. I'm not sure what the intent of it is. I just know that it's like near beds, and there's just not a lot of direction with the ship. I'm confused by what each thing is. Okay, so we got a power room here by the looks of things. So it's a little more clear cut. Sort of have a gradient going with those lights from purple to red. And oh wow, okay. So basically, actually I don't think that is a power room. It's just obviously it's for your turn enhancers, but it just kind of keeps going compartmentalized, I should say, towards the back of the ship. Not really sure where it's going to end up, if anywhere. And here we are in the core room. Okay, so this is the core room. All right. Yeah, there's. I know I keep saying it, but you just need some more direction and stuff like that with the ship, because like all this stuff is just attached to the core. You could easily have it, you know, down here. I mean, like these ones, basically. You could have them all in a row, whatever. I mean, your storage is still floating. You have random spots for all of your display modules. That light is floating randomly. There's definitely a lot of stuff you could work on with this ship. And again, I'm not sure if it's a SMED or not, but you know, there's still plenty of stuff that you have built inside, which is very clear that you built it, but I think could be refined quite a bit with your design. Also, there is, I'm not seeing any, oh, I guess there's another level. So, turret and point defense room. Okay, so maybe that's what this is for. Okay, yeah, I was looking for exactly that light. Ah, let's see, looks like you got a little map thing. Oh, nope, not a map. Oh, different stats and stuff. Basically just meta stuff at that point. Little storage room. So this is a little more clear cut. This is, I like this floor a lot better than some of the other stuff. Please do, unless you're intentionally doing it for various reasons, but this is not an example of that. Just hit enter on some of this stuff, so that way it'll actually go down to the bottom line, or to the next line. Because like all this stuff here, that should be on the next line. Because yeah, that's just, you don't want it just hanging off unless it's intended, which normally it's fairly obvious when it is intended, but it's just not in those instances. Okay, so power room. What else do we have down here? This is basically just kind of the operations floor, which I do like. Oh, got a little like conference room for discussions and stuff. Yeah, man, I'm just not sure about these random light poles that you got around. There's a lot of them, and they don't seem to serve any purpose at all. I mean, they're just kind of randomly laid out. So do try and keep in mind the purpose of individual parts of your ship. So whether it's details or, you know, large components, small components, whatever it is, you want to keep in mind sort of a logical purpose for each of them, unless it is solely as a decoration. But even then, you want it to make sense, sort of, at least as far as its placement, because you need to have each of your rooms should have some sort of a flow when it comes to interior design, because you want to make sure that you know, it's not just like random stuff thrown about in a room, which some of these do kind of feel like. And like there's a bed here in the lounge, but it's right next to the crew quarters where they sleep, so why would it continue on? That kind of stuff. So yeah, just do keep that in mind as you build, and that will definitely help to kind of let you refine your builds and the purposes of your interiors and all that kind of stuff. Again, there's another bed over here in what was otherwise known as the lounge area, and I guess Tom has his own bunk, looks like. Yeah, just you know, it's just, you want to keep that in mind. And I know I keep saying it over and over again, but it really helps your interiors and helps people to enjoy your interiors, especially from a roleplay standpoint. If it's something that you can enjoy walking around in, if you can walk around easily, if every room has a clear purpose, all that kind of stuff. So, okay, all that said, I know it's kind of a rant, but hopefully you guys stuck with me through that. And let's go ahead and give this thing a mobility test, which basically just involves turning. And there are no cameras on this, man. Not a one. Like, because I think hang on, make sure that I'm not in a menu or anything. There are 0 cameras on this ship. And that is a huge no-no. Like, you can't fly this ship then unless you're just zoomed out manually. So that's a major point that I would like to push. So now I have to go in and add my own camera, because there needs to be one, and I'm just going to pop it right in the middle because, you know, stuff and things. And now I got to clear out a block of my own. Okay, there we go. So now I added in a camera, which I should not have to do, not because I'm lazy, because your ship should have cameras in them. So let's go ahead and turn this thing around, which will take probably about half an age. Oh man, so this thing is pretty long. So while we're doing that, let's go ahead and look at the systems. Ion effect computer, and a lot of missiles, and a cannon, and all the effects and stuff. Turrets, obviously. Lots of turrets. Okay, so that's pretty much the entirety of the systems is what's already here on the hotbar, which is good to know. So let's keep on turning this baby around. As far as thrust goes, let's see. Okay, not bad on thrust, which is good. It moves around at a pretty decent pace as far as acceleration goes. So now that we're turned around, let's go ahead and give this thing's weapons a test. Let's do the cannon, the one cannon first, because those missiles are probably going to destroy stuff. Given the ship size, and I'm assuming it is in fact solid. In fact, let me look quick. Yes, it is. So it is going to cause a lot of mayhem, I think, or at least it should, based on what it's got going on here. As far as your turrets go, that could be a little more efficient power system. You don't necessarily need strips like that, but that's a whole different discussion entirely. Anyway, let's go ahead and, for sake of keeping this episode to its minimal length, go ahead and jump in on these weapon system tests. So one quick click with the cannon will test its penetration. All right, and moving on up, let's zoom in a little bit closer. All right, so one click got me not much as far as penetration goes. In fact, not much at all. Maybe, what was that? Was that all that one shot? Okay, that was like 10 blocks. By the looks of things, let's give it another test over here. Okay, again, that was one quick click, and about the same result. So giving it a little burst has a much nicer effect to it. but still not anything too crazy. So let's go ahead and do a shield test with this. In fact, let's do one of the ones that are over here. Okay, so actually for a ship this size, I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit faster, because that was 10,000 shields in, I don't know, what, a second, maybe 2. But not as quick as I was hoping for this solid of a ship, so let's hope most of the rest of them are with missile systems. So first we're going to test it over here. See if we can do this. Okay, that's a lot of missiles. So obviously those are going to the core, which, wow, that's a Hulk missile. Yes, that is a Hulk for sure. Okay, so this is definitely a missile ship, not focusing on the cannons, because holy crap. Look at this, like this from, hang on, let me get in here. This is the radius of that thing. Look at that. That is a ridiculous radius. Holy cow, this shield target barely escaped that. Jeez. Okay then, so that was a big one. Okay, now let's go ahead and test this one. Swarmers, okay, good to know. Very powerful swarmers. Okay, so this is all about the missiles. Good to know. Let's go ahead and test out this last one and see if that destroys everything else. No, those are very fast missiles that said I saw some zeros in there, which makes me wonder if it is a ion effect maybe. Let's see, do it that way. Damage beam, ion effect. Okay, so that could be why. Which obviously this thing doesn't have any missiles, or sorry, shields, so the missiles couldn't take them out. So yeah, super mega death missile over here. But yeah, that is the primary armament, I think. And the turrets are obviously going to be holding off everything else in that time. So that wraps it up for this ship. Whew, okay, so I know I got a little ranty there, so hope you bared with me on that. But I just wanted to, you know, kind of provide pointers for where this could be improved, because to be honest, there are a lot of improvements that could be made to it. It has some potential as a very organic ship. You know, you could do a lot of like alien lore or meta or whatever you want to surround this thing with. But definitely needs some work as far as a interior standpoint for sure. On the exterior, there are fewer things that need to be done, but still a few things. So kind of keep all that in mind. So anyway, that should about do it. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, feel free to subscribe, because I try and do these about once a week. It's been pretty crazy lately, but I won't get into all that. So, and then I've got a lot of other StarMade content that I do. So if you guys would like to check that out, you may as well. That will be on my main channel. But that wraps it up for me. Hopefully you guys had a fun time checking out all this crazy stuff as I run into stuff. So I will catch you guys later.